Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here tonight. This is AU4H Radio Real Talk, and I'm Laurie Ann Smith. That's Lee Roberts and Donna Kshir. And we're glad to be here tonight. We want you to be comfortable. We're all best friends, and we're advocates out here just trying to make a difference and trying to help people. People help people, like Donna said. And, you know, just trying to be a good neighbor and look out for people, look out for children, look out for the vulnerable. And so we're glad to be here tonight. This is really our the third Wednesday of the month. We kind of figured we'll do Wellness Wednesday, but that may change. We may do it the last Wednesday of the month. So, but tonight we're going to kind of talk about Wellness Wednesday, which could incorporate any number of things. So that's sort of that's what we're looking at here tonight. And I know Donna wanted to talk about some comments that had come in, some very nice comments, actually. And we appreciate all the comments because we like the feedback. Absolutely.
Yeah. Laurie, we had some amazing comments. If you don't mind, I'll share a few. Love you here in Calgary. Canadian Joe, Canada. Keep talking, ladies. Sammy from Seattle. Great role models. Annie from Kansas. What are you typing, Donna? James from Johnstown. Three beautiful women. Critics be gone. Violet, Boston. Real Talk, Real Women. Glenda, Georgia. Lovely Laurie, the truth be told, Canada.
Oh.
I thought that was sweet. Love having the stats and resources in the comment sections. Will you be posting our comments as well? Kim, Macomb County, Michigan. Will you do a segment each week on comments? Carl, Kansas. And love the comment portion of the show. Do it at each week, please. Responses from Rockville. And I married an older man too, Lee, looking for love in all the wrong places, but I can relate. Rainy, Ohio. And keep rocking, girls.
That rocks. That's awesome.
Keep rocking. The comments were absolutely amazing. I think last week we each got a lot off of our chests.
I know I did.
I did too. So it was nice. It was nice to kindly vent, without being rude, just getting the point across. But it's plain to see that people really like what we're doing. They're tuning in and they're liking the new ripped up script. And I am as well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, this is a better format because this is kind of what we wanted in the first place. We just weren't quite sure how to go about it. And, so this is just
one thing before we get started. We had quite a few people ask what I was typing, and each week during the show, you let people know that Lee is deaf and she's part of the hard of hearing community. So that is what we're typing when we're typing. We probably had 50 different comments asking what I was typing, what I was doing. What I was doing was typing in a private chat so that Lee could see what the conversation was, what the topic was on, so that she could kind of add her 2 cents. But I love the fact that you share each week, letting people know that she is part of the deaf and the HOH community, because I think it's very important that people know, like how hard it is for her to be here, but she does everything in her power to be part of the team.
That's right. And we wanted to make sure that we could find a way to include her. That's kind of one of the reasons why we decided to do video instead of audio, because we used to do blog talk radio and we just felt that would be way too hard to try to do. This format just seemed to work a lot better. So we put a lot of thought into this before we started doing this because we wanted Lee Roberts to be a part of it. Lee is, part of the backbone, really, along with Donna Kshir, of AU4H, Advocates United for Humanity. And she's been working for years. She should be included in this. And just because she's part of the deaf community doesn't mean we need to leave her out. No. Donna and I do sign some. Some signs,
but so much, though.
Yeah, we can't quite converse every word to her. So therefore, we can't interpret as we're talking. So we type everything. Like when Donna's speaking, I type everything that Donna's saying pretty much to Lee so that Lee knows what Donna's saying. And then that way, if she wants to respond, something she wants to add, and she can go ahead and add it, right? And then when I'm speaking, Donna does the same thing for me. That's why you see us both typing. We're both typing to Lee. Lee is reading. That's why she kind of looks like she's, kind of checking out the screen. Is because she's actually reading what we're typing. She can't hear. She's deaf, right? So it's a wonderful way that we can all do this together. And so we appreciate everybody's. Yeah, and we do appreciate everybody's patience, because it kind of slows it up a little bit, and because we have to make sure that Lee understands what we're saying, at all times, because otherwise she really can't be part of it. So, it does take a little longer to do that, but it's wonderful. I'm glad that we can still all three be together. Advocate sisters still going strong. Yeah. And like I said, we're a little older, but we're also a little wiser. And, we've learned a lot over the years, and we've learned a lot about our own strengths, as well as a lot more about how to get involved and help people to really make a difference. And that's just what we're going to keep doing. Absolutely. So yeah, this is great. I like the comments. I appreciate feedback myself.
Me too. It's nice to kind of hear what people are thinking. It's kind of nice to hear what people's thinking about the show, and what parts they like, what parts they dislike. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, so many people had asked, who are you typing? What are you typing? What are you doing?
It looks like you're typing. What are you typing? Yeah.
Some people thought I was on my phone. Some people thought, and it's like, no, it's like a little chat box, and that's how we keep in touch with Lee. It's part of the program. But I mean, they picked up on it, so.
That's right. See if Lee has anything to say about the comments.
Yeah, I do. One first comment about, we got multiple comments actually and questions, and asked about, what were you typing, Donna, and asked about Laurie typing and where's the chat. They're typing to me in a private chat box to let me know, what they're talking about. If we talk about what we're going to bring to the show and some things we're going to discuss, but that helps me by them typing in this little private chat box. That helps me kind of stay in the loop, because I am deaf, and it's a lot of hearing people will think that, you're deaf, you can lip read, right? And like, even those who are born deaf maybe get about 30%. Lip reading is really difficult, and it's exhausting, absolutely exhausting to try to do. So they're just kind of keeping me in the loop of things here. It helps me out. And there were also a couple of commenters who asked about sign language, and yes, they are slowly learning.
Slowly.
We're having regular lessons, but it's very slow. It's very slow. Yes. But that's important, and that's okay. Slow is good. It's good. What's important is getting it right, understanding the signs, and it's a very visual language, facial expressions, body language, and it's an incredible community that I'm a part of. And I'm glad to be able to share that with my two best friends and sisters, so it's pretty wonderful. We're not going to be doing a lot of signing on the show or anything right now, but we may share a little bit in the future as we get better in the classes. So we're just starting out, but we've all done shows before on Blog Talk Radio, but that was when I had a bit more hearing and I wore the hearing aids. I had them turned up so at least as high as I could get them without them squealing, smashing, a pair of headphones on my ears and trying to, keep up with everybody. There, at least you had the chat room, everybody go back and forth. This is different platform, but I like it a lot better because really, Blog Talk Radio is very difficult. I can't do that anymore, and that's okay. So it's just a new and really cool way of reaching people. There's so many comments that we got were just amazing, and we appreciate them. And we thank you for all of them. And we just can't get to them all on one show. So we're going to do this every show and, grab some comments and just keep watching, keep letting us know, give us feedback. And we just really appreciate you hanging in there with us and joining the show. And there are a couple of things, we're having a Wednesday check-in, Wednesday wellness check-in. So let Laurie start that off. Something she wanted to share first, I believe.
Yeah. Thank you, Lee.
You. No, that way. It's hard on the video. Okay, left is right and right is left.
Backwards.
There you go.
I know. I keep pointing that. I keep pointing that.
Me too.
It's not easy, folks. It's not. I was kind of sitting around thinking about, okay, current events, like what's going on. Well, with Wellness Wednesday, we can cover any number of things with Wellness Wednesday, and we will be. But we kind of want to speak from our hearts about what we know about, personally, and not just what we can read off a piece of paper. Like we said, the scripts are gone. So I thought, well, COVID-19 was a huge issue, and it affected us all. It's affecting us all worldwide. And I know people are maybe sick and tired of listening to it, but what I thought would be good would be just to sort of share kind of what we, used to kind of get through it in our own personal lives, with the isolation and with the fear of, what's going to happen, especially when it first happened, like early last spring. There was a lot of fear. People were unsure what was going to happen, even with the governments, because governments were shutting down, borders were closing. So people kind of went into a panic, and, it was like, what are we going to do? Oh my God, then the schools closed. I mean, this has affected every single one of us. And I thought, there's really, we can all speak about this, and sort of, I thought would be good to talk about how we got through this, kind of what we used in our toolbox, like tools in our toolbox, what worked for us to get through the isolation, through the fear of, this terrible, issue that's affecting a lot of people and killing a lot of people. And that's what I thought would be good to talk about, just kind of almost peer support, what worked for me, what worked for Donna, what worked for Lee, because so many people are struggling, and they still are. And that's the issue, because we're all still quite isolated. We will be for some time. Do you want me to start, Donna?
Go ahead.
Oh, well, since I'm talking, I figure maybe we'll keep on. As well. I know. I mean, I had all last, because I'm by myself. My husband passed away 2.5 years ago, and I've got no family bubble. So, a lot of people have a family bubble. As long as you stay with that bubble, you can still have somebody in your life. So, in my personal world, I've got no bubble. Just my cat. She's my bubble, and it's just me and the cat. So it's been that for the whole entire year. And I was laid off my job at the end of December 2019. And I was very sick. And then COVID hit right after that. And I was already sick with skin cancer and all sorts of other health issues going on, high blood pressure, like stroke level blood pressure for the year. And COVID-19 hit. So I was trying to make doctor's appointments because I needed this stuff addressed. I had already got the ball rolling in December because I was very sick, but things were put off, like, for instance, cancer removal. And look who it is.
Hey, buddy.
He got right on the desk. Sorry.
So cute.
I just laying down somewhere. My little
you should just have him there the whole show.
He was right on the desk. I'm trying to move him.
He's under the
causing commotion.
And Lee's got Otis, and I've got little Laurie. But little Laurie, she's doing her own thing right now. But anyway, she's busy. It was a rough ride, and I did I have suffered with some depression in the past. As most people know, I'm a child abuse survivor, so I've had bouts of depression in my life, and uh, being isolated. I'm kind of used to being isolated, not having a lot of people around me all the time. But just the whole fact that I couldn't go visit my friends here in Calgary, and really they're my local safety net. You know what I mean? Like these people, I don't have any family, so I kind of, they're nice friends of mine who will include me in their life, which is very nice. But because of COVID-19, that was even shut down. All of a sudden, I found myself especially when COVID-19 really got going, like March, April, May, those months right there where it was a big panic. Governments were shutting down, borders were closing, no flights, people were freaking out. Money system, the Wall Street was falling. It was just a crash, It was really a bizarre time. And for anybody who's isolated, nobody to talk to, that stuff can be really hard on a person.
It is.
Yeah, like the fear just taking over, and especially if you're by yourself and don't have anybody to talk to, you don't, what are you going to trust? Like the news sources? Like, it's kind of like, well, I don't know how much facts you're going to get there, right? It's kind of like more fear mongering stuff. So what I did mainly, because I've used these tools before with my adult survivor, healing journey stuff, I just decided to stay busy because I was just healing from skin cancer removal, which had made me really sick. And I actually was very, very ill, lost a lot of hair. I was really, really, really ill, like 200 over 186 blood pressure for the whole year. It was just terrible. And I decided to remain calm so I wouldn't have a stroke and just relax. And since I couldn't go out, couldn't do anything, nobody could come in, I decided I better get busy. So I got back into starting to just do things that I knew would soothe me and sort of take my mind off of the stress and what was happening around me. And so I decided to just use some of that stuff. So I just took up guitar playing again because I had kind of put that off. I wasn't feeling well for so long. I sort of let that go for a little while. So I started playing my guitar again. That helped. I reached out to people like support groups. I was actually volunteering with a different group at the time last year, and for adult survivors of child abuse. And I spent a lot of time talking and speaking with other survivors at that time. I really made a big effort and a big push to reach out to other survivors of abuse, because so many people who they're already suffering because of the trauma of being abused as children. And then to have this on top of that with this COVID-19 thing, just kind of put a lot of them over the edge. And I thought, well, I'll try to be as much of a support as I possibly can. It also helped me to do that. So it was kind of a mutual benefit. It wasn't just me helping somebody else. It was very beneficial to me. So that kind of stuff is what really kind of got me through. Also I decided I better start keeping a routine, because sitting around by myself, there's nobody here to tell me what to do. I can do whatever I want. I don't want to take the trash out. I don't have to, you know what I mean? But after about 10 bags pile up and it starts, like somebody's got to take out the trash. It's going to have to be me. It's just this kind of stuff, keeping a routine. So what I started to do was just get up in the morning and kind of pretend that I was actually I was getting ready for work, even though I was just going to sit here all day. I was like, I need a routine. I get back into a routine. You know what I mean? So I started doing that and kind of like, okay, I'll get up just like I'm going to work. I'll get in the shower and I'll start writing a list of things that I need to get done for the day. And if I don't get them all done, I'm not going to be all hard on myself. It's not one of those situations. But it sort of helped me to get back in the swing, because I was sinking into a bit of a depression, kind of like a despair type thing. Like, this sucks. And I was sick, like physically sick, which didn't help my mental situation, right? So I know that this stuff is so hard on people. Basically, that's what I did. But in November, I left the place I was volunteering with, NASCA. And that's all right, because I had been with them for a while, so it was okay for me to sort of, step away, let somebody else take over. That's all good. And I still love their mission. I always will, because they help adult survivors of child abuse, which I think is wonderful. And, but, I think what we do is wonderful too, Advocates United for Humanity. So I left there, and Donna and Lee were like, kind of saw that I was just floating around again. And I was like, if you guys need help, I can kind of help. I'm not doing anything right now. And they were like, yeah, come on back. So that really helped me out.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it really, it's kind of just looking for what your interests are. Not everybody would want to do what I did. You know what I'm saying? Play guitar and all this other stuff. The issue is you got to find what works for you. And, whether it's journaling or writing or, reading or stuff that, from isolated people, especially during the winter, it's kind of like whatever works for you, right?
Yeah.
And you can use that stuff and just keep a mental list of like, okay, what used to help me in the past, and then use it and see if that doesn't help you get through this COVID stuff, because we still have a ways to go. Like I was just telling Donna, I said, up here in Canada, I mean, vaccines aren't going to be available probably till the end of the year for regular people. You know what I mean? So we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
And
we do in the States.
I'm still isolated. Yeah. I mean, this is the issue. I've been isolated now since last December because of my job. I got laid off my job. It was a seasonal type thing. And so I've been at home isolated since, I'd say, January 1st, let's just say. It was actually December 22nd. And so that is 1 whole year and almost 3 months. It's 15 months of sitting around by myself. You know what I mean?
I don't think I could do that.
Well, my cat's here with me, you know what I mean? So I'm not completely alone. She's actually, you know how pets are. I mean, she's good.
Yeah. Pets are people too.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and it's like Lee with Otis. She's a real source of comfort, and she's really, she's got her own routine. She's an older cat, so she's 15. She's not like a young kitten. She just has her routine. She has certain things she does each part of the day. I know exactly where she's going to go sit, wherever, because I've just watched her for so long. She has a routine, and she kind of likes. She's kind of a loner too. She'll come around a little. She's like me. That's why my husband actually named her after me. Because when he got her, and he named her after me, which I thought was really cute. But
that
actually, she is a lot. Yeah. But she is a lot. Actually, I like interaction with people, but I also like my quiet time. I like this. So she's like that too. She likes her space, but she does come around and just give me a lot of loving too. And she's just really sweet. She likes to spend time with me too. So I that's been a big help to me, having a pet. And
oh yeah,
pets are wonderful. And they force you, because you have a pet, it makes you actually take care. You have to take care of something.
Mm-hmm.
They always they say that, like, for seniors, I mean, Lee and I are closer to being seniors than you are, Donna. But the thing is, you're still younger than us. You'll always be younger than us. But the thing is I'm getting closer and closer all the time. And I kind of see stuff on senior stuff, and they always say, that seniors, it's good for seniors or people who are isolated to have a pet, because it forces you to take care of them, and that makes you feel good.
That's true.
Yeah, it makes you feel good because you're looking after this pet and you're doing a good job. They in return give you that love that, that they can't do anything for you, but it's the fact that, they keep you company. And so that's what I've been doing. Yeah. So
COVID was kind of hard for me because it was the first time that I had to been away from my children and my grandchildren. And we initially went like 3 months. We didn't see them. It was the first time that we had not spent a holiday together since my children were born, or my grandchildren. So that was really tough on me. I actually went over 6 months without seeing my parents, and I see my mom a couple times a week. We talk on the phone about every day, and it was hard not seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
In Pennsylvania is cold in March and April, so I really couldn't get out. But then once the weather broke, I did make time. I did get outside. We live in a very rural area, so it was easy for me to go out and take pictures. And I love to photograph every and anything. So that's basically how I occupied myself over the summer, and then pop right back into the winter months. And it's like, sometimes you feel like you can crawl up the wall because, like, you're so secluded and you're away from everybody. And that's hard. I mean, that is really hard. I don't really go to the store. I really don't go shopping. I have my things delivered to me. That way I don't have to leave the house. Having chronic illnesses, that adds to it. So I have to be very cautious who I'm around or what I'm around. It's hard, but the biggest thing for me is not seeing my babies every day or every week. That was really the hardest part.
Absolutely. Because that's how most people would feel, because I don't have children or grandchildren, right? So for me, it's a little different, but for most people, they do have children or grandchildren, and just all of a sudden, not be able to have that.
Well, but that was it. Like even my parents, I would see them a few times a week, and my sister and my two nephews, and God love them. I said the other day, I'm like, my little nephew, he's only 4. And I said, he probably doesn't even remember me. And he says, I remember you, Aunt Donna. I love you.
That's cool.
But he'll always tell my sister, I miss Aunt Donna. Can I go see Aunt Donna? And she'll say, oh, we'll see her soon. And he says, you always say that. But my biggest thing is I don't want to make anyone else sick. And it doesn't take much to make somebody sick. I mean, if you're in a store and someone's there, you touch something they touch, or they sneeze or cough, and let's be honest, most people will not wear a mask, and that's what really makes it bad. I mean, I'm one of those people, I'm like, wear your damn mask, I mean, if you did, it would prevent a lot of people from getting sick. But I mean, here in our area, you get a lot of people that they'll say, it's my constitutional right, I don't have to wear a mask. And it's like, I wear a mask out of respect for everybody so that I don't make anybody sick. And I really don't want to get sick. The kids here, they were homeschooled pretty much for the last year. They just went back a few weeks ago. But if it continues to rise as the numbers are in Pennsylvania, I see them being back to remote learning in no time.
Mm-hmm.
And
with the variants, because now there's all these variants. That's not a good thing.
They do
at the beginning. I was like,
they do have a vaccine available for people in my area, but it's more like if you're elderly or you're in the medical field, that kind of thing. And personally, I'm not so sure about it. Like half the people I talk to, they're getting it. The other half, they're not. Personally, I don't know. It was just, in my opinion, the vaccine was made way too quickly. I don't think they had enough time to properly research it. So I'm not so sure. What's your thoughts on the vaccine?
Well, I agree with everything you just said there. They haven't had a lot of time to, and they even admitted that. They said there really wasn't a trial period to see just how this is going to, what the long-term sort of, if there would be any negative effects from this. They know that there are some, but it's kind of, when I first heard about it, I thought there's no way I'm taking that vaccine. Absolutely no way. Because, and I'll tell you why, because, I've just seen some videos and just what you hear. That's what I'm saying. You don't know whether the news you're hearing is actually real or not. How do we even know that the sources that are saying that they have the real news is real? We really don't.
Exactly.
We're testing our bodies to something that we have no clue what it is. Some people are saying that it's made out of part animal, something to do with an animal's DNA or something, or animals' biological fluids or whatever it's made out of. I don't know. They're mixing it with human stuff, and I think they want to produce chimeras, half humans, half animals. People say that that's a conspiracy theory, but they're doing it right now in labs. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just real. It's a reality. They're just doing it in labs right now, whether people like it or not. And so I wonder what they've got in that vaccine. I'm a little bit curious. When I first heard about it, I was like, "There's no way I'm not going to get it." Then I thought about it after several months, and I thought, I guess it's probably fine. They've already. I've gotten the vaccines before for the flu vaccine, and you never know what was in those either. Years ago, I got flu shots because flu shots were, my husband was terminally ill, and I used to work out in the public. And so they were like, your husband's terminally ill, he has no immune system. he has, zero tolerance to anything because he was terminally ill and dying, right? And they were like, because you work in the public, you really need to have a vaccine, flu shot, every year. So I decided, okay, I'm going to get a flu shot because to protect my husband. And so that didn't bother me. But now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, what was in that flu shot? I'll never know. And they're just shooting people up with whatever they want.
Years ago, I worked in nursing, and I had to get the flu shot every year. I would no more get that flu shot, and within 2 weeks, I would be so sick for like 10 days. Yeah. And I used to always say, I'm never going to get it again. I'm never going to get it again. But I didn't have a choice because when you work in nursing, the facility makes you more or less get it, whether you want to or not. But I don't know. It takes like 1.5 years for them to create a flu shot. So for them to make a vaccine, it was just like, I'm not so sure about this, guys. You're rushing it. And we don't know all the side effects. I actually was talking with someone today that is pregnant, and she told me that her doctor told her to get the vaccine. And I said, it has not been tested enough in children for you to know. You don't know what it's going to do to your unborn baby. I said, I would hold off. I mean, that's just me. I said, maybe get a second opinion. I get a lot of people ask me things because I have a background in nursing, and I loved nursing. Before I got into it, I didn't ever think it was something I could do. But once I got into it, I absolutely loved it. I love the people. I mean, your patients, they look for you to come in, and when they see you, they smile and they light up. And it was one of the best things ever. But I told her, I said, if I were you, I think I would double think, before getting it, because you're carrying a child and you have no idea what that vaccine can do to that child. They can tell you nothing, but what happens if your child's born with birth defects or, a low immune system? I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket and jump right to it. I would research on my own, and I'd find out the best option for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's especially if you're in a situation like that, you know what I mean? I would get several opinions, for jumping into it. As many opinions as you can possibly get, because this is what I'm saying. The news is saying one thing, the news sources, right? But then there's all these doctors that are saying another thing, and there's people that work in pharmaceuticals that are saying another thing. There's a lot of scientists and stuff that work in pharmaceuticals that are saying that vaccine is terrible. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, they have to know a whole lot more than I do. I don't know anything about pharmaceutical vaccines. So it's kind of like, it's scary.
You also have to be aware of, you may have a reaction to it. I actually have a friend that I went to high school with. She's always very outgoing, she's crazy. She likes to have a good time. Nothing slows her down. Nothing stops her. Well, a few weeks ago, she had called me and she said she was getting the shot. And I told her, I says, well, just be very careful, watch yourself in case you have any signs or symptoms, because they say if you're allergic to shellfish or if you have any allergies, you really should double think about getting it. It's not a good fit. So she's like, oh no, I'm good. I don't have any allergies, this, that, and the other. And I said, okay. I says, well, let me know how you do. She called me like 2 days later and she was in the hospital. After she got it, she couldn't breathe. It kind of really scared, it scared her, but it also scared me because I thought they're giving you something so quickly. They don't know really what long-term effects it can have on you. And there she is, never having a problem, very athletic, very outgoing. Now she's in the hospital. She can't breathe. And when I talked to her last, she wasn't even sure when she was going to be released. And then they were talking to her about getting the second dose. And it's like, I don't think so. But again, that's your choice.
No, thanks.
To me, I always think, no, thank you. I'm going to research it. I just don't jump right into anything that I do. And like with her, when they told her, there she is, she just had this horrible reaction. She's still in the hospital and they're saying, oh, we're going to give you your second dose. And it's like, I think I'd double think this just a little bit.
That's right. What are you trying to do? Kill me?
Exactly.
let's let me get better first.
If the original reaction was that bad, what is it going to be with the second dose of it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think Lee has something to say.
Yeah, I've read a couple stories about people having a bad reaction to the vaccine, and someone, actually, I have a friend who started experiencing some bad symptoms, bad reactions for a few days, and got really, really sick. I've actually lost a couple of friends to COVID. I've had some friends and loved ones actually get sick, and then I lost a couple of friends very recently. And people really, really need to take this seriously. And you gotta take precautions. For me, I don't go out unless I need to. Like I've got to pick up groceries, I've got to go to the pharmacy, or I've got to go to, we call it the Bark Bakery, because it's short for Positively Scrumptious Bark Bakery and Boutique. So, which is a mouthful, but it's a holistic holistic animal food place that's right down the street. Because naturally, my little mascot here is very, very sensitive to different foods, grains, wheats, and stuff. And he's also sensitive to grass, so that's fun when we go out. But
oh, poor baby.
wear the mask, go out. I consolidate trips. I get everything done in one day when absolutely possible. I don't make any appointments that I don't absolutely have to go to. And just kind of like keeping my own little bubble here. I do have a couple of people that I connect with. I mean, there's a couple of wonderful neighbors on either side of me. And, what's really hard, now I'm an introvert at heart. I'm an extrovert when I'm around other deaf people or around very, family and a couple of special friends, but I'm an introvert at heart. Yet still, this pandemic, this isolation. I also have been dealing with depression, major depression, for pretty much all my life, and it gets hard. I have some really good days these days, but this has been difficult for me. I'm also someone who I grew up with the hugs. I'm a hugger. I'll hug everybody. You need a hug here, and I miss those. When we have deaf gatherings, when we have deaf events, and deaf coffee chat, and silent lunches, most of us we're all about hugging, and not being able to get those. Not being able to get those is incredibly difficult. And I am truly blessed because I have an animal. Actually, he has me. I am owned. And I know that if I didn't have him in my life, that it would be even more difficult. It's hard. You want sometimes, for myself, I want to sleep, stay under the covers, just, wake me when it's all over and done with. But I try to stay connected, even though I don't really post a lot on Facebook, especially this year, everybody's trying to find a reason to fight. They want to yell at somebody, they want to gnaw your ankles off, and they're just like, arr. So it's really difficult. I connect with people on Facebook. We do, our advocacy, and that's pretty much it. I'm off. I'm done. But it's hard being in isolation, and I know it's not always easy for those who have significant others or even any family that live with them. That's still hard because
that's right.
Just because it is. We all have a different reaction, or the way we deal with all of this. For some families, it's been great bringing them back closer together, but others tears them apart. So it's just hard. It's really hard. I miss the hugs, because that for me, hugging is like the ocean. It is life renewing. It lifts you up. Hugs are the best thing on the planet. They are. So I'm glad that I've got my dog, and I know that a lot of people, actually they were not adopted an animal, or dog or a cat, or maybe even birds. But there were more adoptions this year. To help get them through the loneliness. I just hope a lot of those people will still continue, taking care of the animal after this isolation and quarantining is kind of lets up and eases up. But mental health is a really, really big topic, especially on Twitter. I'm connected with a couple of really great mental health advocates and little advocacy groups and individual mental health advocates, and that support system, not just for me, but for others out there who deal with depression and other anxiety and PTSD. I mean, all the other diagnoses. It's a way for them to connect and get the support that they're not getting now that they used to get. So it's really, really important to stay connected and to have support. And
that's right.
Mental health, it's hard not falling down into the abyss for a lot of us. I'm good. I'm not getting into the abyss again, but I've had days where it's like a total shutdown, and for us, we connect, me and Donna and Laurie, we connect regularly, pretty much daily, which is very helpful. And sometimes I'll go on radio silence, complete shutdown of everything for about 2, sometimes 3 days. But, even Donna knows it's like, if you don't hear from me after a couple of days, hey, kind of like, hello, hey, how you doing?
Somebody check on me.
I do. And Donna, you both have animals, and Laurie, you've got a sweet, beautiful cat. You got a couple of crazy puppies there too, Donna. Remy keeps you busy, and Lana. So those really help us get through the days. Otherwise, it's hard. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine those who are dealing with the mental health struggles who are actually homeless now. The homeless thing is a really big concern. There are more homeless people, and in the extreme temperatures are just, it's hard when you're living outside,
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're out there, if you can, help support your local homeless shelter, local animal shelters, help donate things to them, see what they need. A lot of them have, wish lists on Amazon, mm-hmm. which is a really, really good, helpful tool.
Yeah.
So, see what you can do and help others out. We've got our local Crestview area homeless shelter here that has an Amazon wish list. They've got a Facebook support group, and they post the updated needs so people can be specific, because they don't always have the room, mm-hmm. to hold, all the extra stuff, all the extra clothes. So they post what they really, really need. And mm-hmm. even here in Northwest Florida, I'll tell you, it's pretty cold. It's pretty cold at night. So, trying to keep them warm, and it's hard enough, and you're depressed when you're homeless, and imagine having to deal with the COVID. And I know it's easier to social distance when you're having to live outside, but it still doesn't make it easy. I mean, you don't have the connections that you really need.
That's right.
And think about the animals that some of the homeless have, and just try to do what you can and help. And reach out to people around you, people that, have a hard time, that may be going through depression, just kind of reach out and connect with them and say, hey, I'm here. You need anything, or how are you doing today? You know, it's kind of an open, it's hard when you say, hey, how are you doing? So I've learned to say, how are you doing today? How are you doing right now? Is there anything, that you need help with? Can I help you with anything? But it's important. Just keep checking in with people. And I think this thing is going to be with us for a while.
Yeah.
I'm really praying that it will come down to the level of where the flu is now. That we'll eventually just have to deal with it as an annoyance, in the seasons.
Hopefully.
But it's still scary. Cases are still, rising. People are testing positive. And, everybody's got their own thoughts and feelings about, whether or not to take the vaccine when it's available to them. And, having chronic illness and dealing with chronic health issues, I wonder if I should take it, but I may not be able to take it due to certain things. I mean, I couldn't even get certain shots when I was, when I was probably about 5, I think it was. The pertussis, the whooping cough one. I mean, I had lung issues when I was that young too. So, they couldn't give me certain shots. And I've taken the flu shot before, and that was about mid-2000s. That took me to my knees. I was on my knees on the floor in the doctor's office because I could barely move.
That's not good.
And that's the last time I took the flu shot. It wasn't just, your immune system kicks in and you get a little sick. It was like a literally dropped. So I'm really hesitant about taking that. That is something, however, that I will take up with my doctors, and get their feedback and opinions and really discuss it with them at length. So, but we need to get through this. The only way we can get through this is together.
Yes.
That's
together,
right.
Helping each other instead of all this tearing each other down and finding reasons to fight, that's not going to get us anywhere.
That's division and separation. We need to come together.
Yeah. We do. We really do.
That's why I'm not big on social media. Everybody's fighting about everything.
We got to pray for everybody to get united, to stand together, because otherwise we're just going to fall apart.
Yeah. That's right. What were you saying? You can go ahead and continue, Donna.
Oh, I was just going to say, that's why I'm not real big on social media, because people, if they're not fighting about politics, they're fighting about who should wear a mask, who shouldn't wear a mask. It's their duty that they don't have to, according to the Constitution. And it's just like, we're all in this together. Let's stand together. Let's fight together. Let's get through it together. Everybody doesn't, though. They want to divide. And that's why I'm not real big on social media. It's not like, I don't care what people's doing. I only care what I'm doing or you girls are doing. I'm not big on the whole what the world's doing, because, like I said, no one's ever happy. Everyone just wants to argue and divide. And to me, it's not about that. It's like, we're all going through this together. We're all suffering right now. We're all not able to see our families and our friends. We can't go out and actually enjoy ourselves. I mean, it's been over a year and we have basically been homebound. And like I said, during the cold months, having chronic pain, I cannot just go out and enjoy myself in the winter. So the wintertime is kind of like very shut down for me. So I have to be in a lot. I try to find things that I like to do. Like I said, I try to do photography. I like to paint. I'm not that great, but I like to paint. But I try to avoid social media as much as I can, because no one wants to hear the arguing and the bickering. And it's like people's literally fighting and unfriending each other. And it's like, for what? Because somebody doesn't agree with you. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy because people want to disagree with you and they want to be right, but it's not enough being right or just agreeing to disagree. if you don't agree with what they say, you're wrong and they're right. And you have to take on their beliefs or there's an issue. And to me, I'm all about opinion. Everyone has an opinion. You know, you do what you want, you say what you want. You go by what you believe, and everyone tries to shove their beliefs down your throat. So to me, it's like, I'd rather just have no part of it. So like I said, a lot of times I don't have time for social media. I'm thankful for the volunteers we have because they do a lot of posting for us, and you know, that's great. But as far as myself, I try to be on there as little as possible because I'm just not going to have someone else's beliefs shoved down my throat, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, what's really hard is when you can't hug your grandchildren and you're used to seeing them all the time. That kills me. It's like, you know, your heart has been ripped out of your chest. You can't hug them. You can't, you know, it's different seeing them on video or, you know, for you talking to them on the phone. At least I can, it's hard. It's really, really hard. One thing I just wanted to add real quick was that what helps me calm and center is I burn sage. I burn white sage, and you know, I meditate, and that does help to a degree. I have a few really great groups that I'm part of on Facebook that are important to me, but the two most important ones are the Twins Support Group International, for twins who have, you know, lost their twin at any point in, you know, from in utero, you know, right up to, you know, now. And there's another group of twins called the Soul Twins, and it's headed up by some really amazing twins who are further on their journey. They've done a lot of healing work, and there's some really great support. So I'm part of those two groups, which is just phenomenal. You know, it's hard. I don't always comment, but you click the emoticons, you know, and let somebody know you're there, and I'll post as I can, because I'm finally back, you know, after a couple of years of dealing with compound grief from multiple losses. That was a really difficult journey, and then dealing with COVID. So it's kind of it's another loss because it's a loss of, you know, most of the normal things that we do every day. We've got to change our routines, you know, but that's some important stuff that helps me get through, you know, and it's really, being a twin, it's hard. I've been without my twin since before we were born, and have that one memory of us holding hands in the womb, and then she was gone. So I hold on to that tightly. But being able to connect with other twins it's critical to our survival, you know, just like the hugs. The hugs are really hard. So, but not getting those hugs are really hard, you know. And a very precious twinnie of mine, he traveled a round trip 3 hours, so an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half back, just to get a hug from another twin, you know, and a hug from someone. It's like, I would do that. That's, you know, that's where I'm going to add.
That's awesome.
It's frustrating not knowing how long this mess is going to go on. But those hugs are really, they're vital to our survival, you know, not only as people, but as twins, it's even more so. So that's really hard, but thankful, very, very thankful, you know, for the twins I do have the connections with on Facebook. So
it's very cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It helps to get that support, you know, like we can all do something, like I'm saying, you know, sometimes people think, well, how can I get involved? You know, I can't do anything. And that's just not true. All of us are gifted. Yeah, all of us have a gift. And we, you know, we all have something to share. We've all been through different things. So, you know, all of us bring sort of our own special qualities to the table when it comes to that stuff. I just started 2 support groups I used to have support groups going with the ASCA, Adult Survivors of Child Abuse. And also, these are online support groups, and they're free. And also with Survivors of Incest Anonymous. And I used to do that, but then I shut them down because my husband was passing away. It was just too much for me. I needed to grieve. I knew I was going to fall apart for a while with the grief work. I already knew that. I knew life wasn't going to be good for a while, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to run those groups. And it was going to be a long while before I was doing anything like that. So I just started them back up, and that makes me feel good. I need the support too. So I'm not only facilitating, but the issue is that it's also helpful for me as a participant because it's peer support. So that's like what Lee is talking about, peer support.
Yeah.
It's people helping people.
Yes.
And that's such a wonderful thing. It really is, to be able to connect with people that can relate to what you're going through. Or, there's just all sorts of that sort of stuff. There's also depression groups for people that suffer from chronic depression. You can get a hold of people and contact people that can support you through that. Peers. If you want to go the professional route, you can. You know what I mean? There's therapy and counselors, online therapists, online counseling. But those peer-to-peer support groups are really awesome because you make some wonderful friends in those places.
Yeah, you do.
Support groups are so important.
Yeah, because it's people helping who understand where you're coming from, what you've been through.
Yeah. What's hard is I think about the folks who have lost a loved one and they've not been able to bury their loved one. They're not been able to grieve properly. I mean, the whole process has just been tipped on its rear end,
Yeah.
Very sad.
My heart breaks for those people, those families, those loved ones. And there are certain ceremonies and certain customs for some that are more important than, a lot of people may understand, but there's certain customs that they need to follow. When they can't do that,
that's right.
It just makes it, more difficult for them to get through this. When you can't bury your loved one, when you can't have a funeral or a memorial, and you've got to wait months down the road to be able to do something, I can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah, and people actually in the hospital that I saw so many posts from friends on Facebook and that were losing grandparents or aunts and uncles, elderly aunts and uncles, parents, great aunts, great uncles, this sort of lots of seniors passing away, right? And they were saying, we can't even go to the hospital to be with them when they pass away. They're going to pass away alone. And that just breaks my heart.
It does me too.
Because they have families, like I'm probably going to pass away on my own. I wouldn't doubt it. You know what I mean? I'm seriously on my own. That's why I'm so thankful for my friendship and sistership with Donna and Lee, because, and other great friends as well, because you guys keep me going. But it's, it's hard when you don't have a lot of family, like extended family. There's just no family. And most of my friends live elsewhere outside of my city. So, the issue is that there's these people who love their grandparents, and love their aunts and uncles and their moms and dads. And oh my God, they had to sit there and grieve their loss, and they weren't able to be with them when they passed away.
Yeah.
To me, that just breaks my heart.
It does me too.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. I prayed for them because I'm a Christian, so I prayed. But I'm like, what can you say? What can you do? Just reach out to people like that and just tell them, I'm here for you.
Yeah. That's the only thing you can do.
I'm here for you.
Laurie, we have to stop and think though too,
just so they know that they're not alone.
They're not alone, but we have to think about, we're really bored being at home, but imagine all the elderly people in these homes that can't have family come visit them. I mean, that must be really hard on them.
That's for sure.
I mean, at least we
that's
can.
their only lifeline, you know.
Well, yeah, because like at least we can really go outside, or we could go to the store, or we could do certain things. I mean, we have to mask up, of course, and of course, then I have to have my supply kit of sanitizer and hand wipes and and you name it.
Toolkit. Wow. COVID-19 toolkit. Yeah.
Exactly. But really they can't get outside. Some of them are bedridden. They can't get outside. They can't go anywhere. And I know at the local hospital here, they actually had a thing where they weren't allowing any of the residents to go out and visit as well, because they used to go out like to lunch or dinner with their families, and they shut all that down. So they were very limited, other than just being in the facility itself, not leaving their rooms. I mean, that has to be hard on them as well. I mean, I know I'm going crazy not seeing my grandchildren as much as I normally did. Although I will say they try to call me every day. My one little guy, he does a video chat with me every day. And it's hard because you want to scoop them up and you want to love them, and I keep sending them like little gifts in the mail, like so that they know that I'm thinking of them. But I mean, I think about those people in those nursing homes or even in the hospital, but especially the nursing homes, because they can't get out. They can't leave their rooms. I mean, they are literally on lockdown 24/7.
That's right. And so it's not only hurting the people on the people of the family that can't go see them are hurting, but it's not just them. It's the people that they can't go see, their loved ones who are in these nursing homes, right?
A friend of mine's daughter just got married, and they literally got married outside of the grandmother's window at the nursing home, so that she could be there while they got married. And I thought that was the sweetest thing. And I did. Cool. It was so sweet, because she really wanted her gram to be a part of her special day. And she's like, that's the only way that we could include her, was to do it that way. But I laugh because I'm like, I said, B, it was so cold. How could you stand it? And she's like, I'll do anything for my gram.
That is so cool.
Bless you. But it was very, like I said, it was very nice.
Yeah, that's very, very cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Poorly.
I know, I'm sorry. I had to sneeze too. I was like, but I granddaughter messages me regularly. So I've got that connection. I don't live as close to mine anymore as you do, Donna. It's like, I wish I did. I wish I did. 2 live in West Central Florida, and the other 3 are up in Iowa, where it's pretty cold.
It's freezing.
Because, I mean, both you guys too, in Pennsylvania and Calgary. The temps have been crazy. It's been -20, feels like -33 where my son is in Iowa. And he messaged me, was it last night? I think it was last night. He said, oh, it's -7. I'm like, yeah, heat wave, I've never, seen this. Last time
that's warm for us.
Places getting this cold, and the nor'easter that went through was, I mean, I survived the blizzard of 1978, just outside of Boston in Southborough, Mass.
That was massive.
I was a teenager, and there was snow up to my nose. Some of the kids built this massive ice cave, a snow cave, which was pretty warm inside. It was really cool. But everything stopped, and my mom, being a registered nurse and working in a facility over in Framingham, only people who had to work like that, like nurses, doctors, and necessary personnel, they were being taken to their jobs. Mom had to ride on the back of a snowmobile of a state trooper from South Florida. Framingham. She was not really happy with having the ride. They weren't letting anybody drive their own vehicles. You're not driving because it was so dangerous.
I saw the pictures.
And we're already seeing massive pileups, in Texas and in other areas. And it's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was the last time I actually seen this kind of weather.
It's been a lot of people will say to me, when are you coming back to Michigan? Because Michigan's like my second home. And I'm like, if anywhere, I'm going to Florida. It is freezing in Pennsylvania and Michigan. Like, what part don't you understand? I want
South. But even the South right now is really cold.
It is.
I've talked to so many people down there. Texas is a mess. Louisiana, all sorts of the states in the southern states are having a real winter blast, and it's a mess. So many people without heat right now. So many people without electricity.
So sad.
I'm just praying for all of you, down there. I really am. And I know there's a lot of us that are.
Yes, we all are.
Yeah, I mean, this is terrible.
We've got to check on each other. In the extreme times, you got to check on your neighbors, check on the elderly, check on the vulnerable. I've got a friend who's, a couple of friends who are out there in maybe Virginia and then in Texas and Iowa. I've got family and friends, and plus you guys, the temps are so extreme that, you got to bring your animals in, take care of each other, and check on each other. Sorry, backtracking. Jump the tracks there for a second.
Okay.
Do that.
People they're without power for days. Okay, and I saw a photo just a little while ago today that had, there's icicles literally hanging off the inside of a building.
Yes.
Of a ceiling. We're talking some big boys, and that's inside, and people are freezing. So do what you can to help, if it's just making a call, say, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Because you never know. That could be you in need. So please just take the time to check on your neighbors, check on the vulnerable, the elderly, and just make sure they're okay. Make sure they're warm enough. Make sure they've got enough food.
That's right. That's right. Just do what you can,
Yeah.
This is a really rough winter.
It is.
Really rough.
Not so much for us. We're having a mild winter, and but the states, we had a cold snap where it was for about 2 weeks where it was really brutally cold, and like minus 30, minus 35, minus 40 Celsius. So that's really cold Fahrenheit. That's like North Pole cold or South Pole cold. But it's on the way out, and right now we've got better weather coming in. Right now it's not too bad out there. We're kind of geared up for that up here. But there's many people, especially in the southern states like Texas and other places who are not in Florida, who are not geared up for that kind of weather.
No.
And they're not used to it. They don't normally have to prepare for that kind of weather. So, and not only that, but the utilities aren't used to handling that cold weather. So they're losing their power. They've lost their heat. They've lost their electricity. I talked to a lady today who's actually was out in her car charging up her phone because she has no electricity. And I was like, oh my God, like this is terrible. And so many millions of people right now. And so if you can be a good neighbor, do. I wish I could go. I really do.
Laurie, people can even just call though. Like they can call a neighbor or a friend to make sure they're okay. I mean, I have several people that I try to keep in contact with every day just to make sure they're okay, or if they, they need anything. And we kind of do like a circle, like it kind of goes around the chain so that everyone's contacting someone to make sure that they're okay. But I know it's been really cold here. Like we've been down in the single digits and the teens just about every night. And we're actually expecting approximately 8 inches of snow tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's been a rough winter in Pennsylvania this year, a really rough winter.
Same for Lee, right? Lee
Lee had
heating issues. And I was like, that's no good because she's freezing, in Florida. So we don't want to go to Florida, Donna.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to like go somewhere else, like Hawaii or something.
I love Florida. I love the Keys, and it's like it's even cold there right now. So it's like you can't even get away.
That's what I'm saying. It's no use going south right now to Florida. We're gonna have to go somewhere else, like Hawaii.
Let's go.
I want to pop in for a second and say something because it actually. Reminder, I was just putting my notebook over to the side and it ended up on my personal support book for Wellbriety. I'm 27 years sober as of January 1st. It's been very difficult one day at a time. And for anybody that's out there, this is a really hard time as well for not being able to meet. And there are online support groups, but it's hard. Reach out, and I try to connect with others who are newly sober or just celebrating 30 days, you're celebrating 2 days, you're celebrating 24 hours. Celebrate those successes, but keep reaching out and work because you're worth it. It's one day at a time, and work it because you're worth it. You are that important.
I'm proud of you, Lee. We're proud of you.
I'm proud of her too.
Not always
worked
easy.
very hard.
But
Awesome.
and I'm here for anybody that needs to reach out, whether dealing with depression or dealing with needing support in sobriety. So we can't keep what we have. We got to give it away. Share our experience, strength, and hope, and help another in the journey. So I wanted to add that because that was on my heart.
That's awesome.
More and more people reaching out on Twitter. Hey, it's not a big deal, but I'm 30 days sober, and I'm thinking that is amazing.
It's a big deal.
That is amazing. Every day sober, every 24 hours that you are sober, that you are clean, is a phenomenal success, and that is awesome. So,
that's right.
Just keep reaching out, and I'm here for you guys. Or if you're watching or if you listen to the show at another date, I'm here for anybody that needs to reach out, especially during this time.
That's right. And people can go to our website and contact us. If you don't know how to get a hold of us personally, you can go to our website and if you just want to send us an email, you can contact us. You can also see our resources tab. We've got lots and lots of resources there. And just tons of resources.
There's a lot of great resources, and there's actually a contact form on the website. They can fill it out and they can get in touch with us, and someone will respond to them usually within 24 hours. Laurie, before we move on, your information about your survivor stuff is on the website as well. So if anyone's interested, they can get on there and check that out.
Yeah. That's great. That's awesome. Thank you for updating the website. And
he's been working on it the last week.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because it was a work to update all the websites with my stuff. And that's the thing. I just wanted to be a bit of support in the, to direct people, even if you're not interested in my groups. You can check out ASCA, Adult Survivors of Child Abuse, a More Center program. You can just check out all the groups. So even if you're not interested in mine, I'm hoping that it will sort of spur survivors of abuse who are looking for support to go to those websites, check out the groups. You might find a group in your own area that works better for you. It's more just to be a resource for people. If I can help you find resources, let me know. You can just contact us on the website. We'll help you with whatever we can. Absolutely.
Most definitely.
All right. So is that about it, ladies?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Let's wrap it up. Okay.
It's a wrap.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
It's a wrap.
Cut.
Stay safe.
Yes. It was wonderful to be here with you. I love spending this time with you, my besties. And
I do as well.
Yeah, and all of you who've been watching the archives and watching live from different places, we really appreciate you. We appreciate you, and we care. We do care. Like I said, if we can help you find any resources in your area, you get a hold of us. We can work with you and try to help you out, right? And remember, you're not alone, right? Just like we're not alone, you're not alone. We're best friends. You're our friend, and we're all friends here. So you can reach out. And so we'll say goodnight, and we'll be back here next Wednesday. Also, keep your eyes open because we're going to have some interviews coming up, different types of interviews with different people. And one's going to be an author interview. It's going to be wonderful. And we have details coming up about that as well. So you can watch for those shows too, but they won't be on the Wednesdays. They're going to be on, whatever day, like a Thursday or a Friday. You know what I mean? They'll be on different days. We're always going to have our Wednesday show as Real Talk, AU4H Radio Real Talk. So we're going to say goodbye for now.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks for being here with us. Yeah. And sending love.
Yep. There we go. Bye, everybody.
All the best.
Thank you.